Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. So continuing the topic of Pramanam, we have seen Veda is a Pramanam, and the definition of Pramanam we know Anadigata, Avadita, Arthavata, Jnana Janakam Pramanam. So therefore, accepting Veda as a separate means of knowledge is what is called Shraddha. What cannot be known through our regular perception, means of knowledge perception, and that which is exclusively a subject matter for the Veda. So because of that only Veda is a separate means of knowledge. As we saw before, it was revealed to the rishis. It was not created by the human brains. It was revealed to the rishi. Rishayaha, Shati Janati iti Rishayaha. Rishis are those people who know. For them it is revealed. Who see, seers. They are the seers. Mantra, Drashtaraha, Rishayaha. So Bhagavan revealed to rishis, and rishis handed over to handed over to the next generation, either through son or the shishyas, and it has come down the tradition. And who is the revealer? From whom it has come? From Dakshinamurti Adi Guru. Who is the guru of that guru? The guru, Dakshinamurti, the guru, he doesn't have a guru. That is why he revealed. If he also would have received, then he must have a guru. Then how that person got? He must have a guru. Therefore, it will go on and on. Therefore, that is why Guru, therefore, he is ultimate Guru. Dakshinamurti is the ultimate Guru. He doesn't have a Guru. That is why we say in the Namavali, Anatha Yanamaha, the one who doesn't have a Natha, the master, is called Anatha. It is the name of Bhagavan, Ishvara. So Ishvara is this knowledge. In fact, this knowledge is Ishvara, and that was revealed to the rishis. So Adima Guruhu Dakshinamurtihi. From him only this knowledge has come down the tradition, and it is still alive. It is available for us thanks to the parampara. Now, this Veda, as a means of knowledge, we will read. Suppose I were to say, the Veda says that there is such a thing as heaven. Can you prove it? Swargaha asti, Swarga lokaha asti. Suppose the Veda says, can you prove it? You cannot prove it. Can you disprove it? That also you cannot do it. If it can be proven, it is knowledge. It is not knowledge exclusive to the Veda. If Swarga Loka can be proved by you, then Veda is not required. Then Veda ceases to be a Pramanam. Can you disprove it? How can you disprove that? For that also you need a Pramanam. So since it is exclusive subject matter of Veda, that cannot be proved or disproved by any other Pramanam. Since we cannot prove or disprove it, therefore the Veda is a Pramana for knowing about heaven. All the religions, almost all the religions talk about the other loka. So how are you going to verify the other loka? Only Veda is a Pramana. Veda says, therefore what Veda says, need to have Shraddha in in what Veda says, because it's a pramanam. So what Veda says cannot be proved by other pramanam, pratyakshadi pramanam, or disproved by pratyakshadi pramanam. Because Veda is a pramanam, is a means of knowledge. Anything that cannot be proved or disproved is a sphere of the Veda and is its definition as well. So what is Veda? When somebody asks, Veda means knowledge. It's a means of knowledge. And what the Veda reveals cannot be proved or disproved by other means of knowledge. That there is a heaven, that there is an afterlife, that there is not an end of everything, and everyone cannot be proved. Nor can you prove that for all your actions, right and wrong, there are invisible results. Adrishtapalam accrue to your account called punya and papa. How are you going to prove the punya and papa? It is adrishtam, not visible. Therefore, for adrishta vishaya also, Veda is a pramanam. For punya papa, for sargaloka, Veda is a pramanam. Science cannot prove it. The pratyakshadi pramanam cannot prove punya and papa. Pratyaksha means it is the vishayas must be tangible. Punya papa are not tangible, invisible. The Veda says that punya is the result of good action and papa is the result of wrong action. The Veda also says, along with some supporting logic, that papa accrued to our account has to be paid for with pain. This is called the law of karma. Can you disprove such statements? Can you prove them? You can neither prove them nor can you disprove them. That is why Veda is a pramanam, we say. There are a number of other things mentioned in the Veda. For instance, we are told that by performing a certain ritual, we will receive a specific result, either immediately or later. Suppose you perform a ritual for the sake of having a child called Putra Kameshti. Putra Kameshti is a yajna. The result, the palam of that yajna is Putra Prapti. You have made every effort possible and the best medical advice available has assured you that there is no reason for you not to have a child. But then something is denying you this particular gift. Since you are dealing with an unknown factor and you want a specific result, you perform a specific prayer, not a broad spectrum prayer. This specific prayer takes care of the unknown factor that is denying you the gift of a child, and the child comes to you. All of this is stated in the Veda. Because this ritual and its result is given by the Veda, you accept it, along with the other statements made therein. The spheres covered in the Veda are only those that are not available for perception and inference. So what is covered by the Veda, not available for perception, inference. Not only perception, inference, other pramanam also we can add. It is an exclusive area or sphere of Vedanta. So it comes under the range of the Veda. Therefore, only Veda can talk about it. Not other pramanam. Other pramanam cannot prove or disprove it. By doing a putra kameshti yajna, a particular yajna, a child is born. You are gifted with a child. The couple who, in spite of trying all the medical methods, could not get a child, but performing putra kameshti yajna gets a child. How possible? You don't see between the action and the result. There is no connection. There is no connection, visible connection seen by you. You do an yajna and a child, you are blessed with a child later. The unknown factor that was inhibiting, obstructing, that is taken care by the special prayer, and therefore you are gifted with a child. For that, Veda is a pramanam. Here there is a footnote given in the previous page. Pratyakshedana mityava yastupayo na buddhyate yevam vidanti vedena tasmat vedasya vedata. So Vedas are means of knowledge. For that, this shloka is a Rig Veda Bhashya. People know through the Vedas that which cannot be known through perception or inference. Therefore, Vedas are the means of knowledge. That is what Vaidya Swamiji keep on saying, that cannot be known through perception and inference. That is subject matter of only Veda. Pratyakshena anumitya. Pratyakshena is pratyaksha pramana. Anumiti is anumana pramana, inference. So pratyakshena anumitya va yastu upayaha na buddhyate, not available for perception or inference. Etam vidanti vedena eva vidanti. Tasmat vedasya vedata. Therefore, Veda as a status of me, being a means of the knowledge, pramana, vedata iti. The first portion of the Veda, we will continue the next paragraph, the next page. The first portion of the Veda deals with various rituals, prayers, karma, punya, papa, and so on, and is called the Purva Bhaga or the Karma Kanda. Purva means before, Bhaga means portion, parts. So, therefore, the Purva Bhaga means the first part of the Veda, otherwise called Karma Kanda. Why it is called Karma Kanda? Because it deals with varieties of rituals. Rituals either in the form of the doing yaga, yajna, etc., or in the form of prayers. It deals with karma. Karma can be done through kayika, by body, or through the mind, or through the vak, the speech, japa, etc., or chanting, stotram, etc. All are karma. So kayika, vachika, manasa. By three, we can do karma, and there will be a karma palam. And the karma palam is adrishtam. That takes care of the upsetting factors, and the result is God. So that is the subject matter of the Purva Bhaga of the Veda. The end portion of the Veda deals with certain facts about the nature of the self. Self is Atma. That cannot be stumbled upon by any other means of knowledge at our disposal. That is what we saw. It cannot be stumbled upon by any other means of. Stumbled upon means you cannot know that through any available other means of knowledge. Whatever means of knowledge you have at your disposal, like pratyaksha, anumana, etc., through that you cannot stumble upon what the end portion of the Veda reveals. Only through Veda Anta, the end portion of the Veda, only Atma can be known. The knowledge of Atma can be gained. That end portion of the Veda, since it deals with knowledge, therefore it is called Jnana Kanda or Vedanta or Uttara Bhaga. Jnanam, knowledge. Kanda, the part. That part deals with knowledge is called Jnana Kanda. That part deals with karma is called Karma Kanda. So Karma Kanda or Veda Purva, Jnana Kanda or Uttara Bhaga, later part of the Veda. Bhaga meaning portion or parts. Later part is called Jnana Kanda, otherwise called Vedanta. Why it is called Vedanta? Because it is the end portion of the Veda, located at the end. It's a positional name. Therefore, it is called Vedanta. Veda, otherwise called Upanishad, because they are located at the end of the Veda. So Jnana Kanda or Vedanta or Uttara Bhaga or Upanishad all mean the same. So deal with the certain facts about the nature of self, as Swamiji says here. Next paragraph will continue. When we say something is beyond one's inference or perception, we don't mean that is beyond the mind. We mean that it is not available for one's inference or perception. Still, it has to be known. And any knowledge takes place only in the mind. This has to be noted. Some people have this peculiar speculation or notion that it cannot be known through the mind. Any knowledge, how does it take place? Only through the mind. In the mind only knowledge takes place. If it's something to be known, knowledge is required, and knowledge takes place only in the mind. So, therefore, when we say beyond pratyaksha, etc., it doesn't mean that it's beyond the mind. If that is so, then where this Atmagyanam takes place? Atmagyanam also takes place only in the mind. The study of Vedanta, gaining knowledge, where this knowledge takes place? In the mind only. That's what somebody says here. Therefore, where does self-knowledge take place? Only in the mind. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. Upanishad Vakyam. Only through the mind it has to be seen. It has to be known. Anudrashtavyam, to be seen. Because all knowledge has to take place in the mind. You cannot go beyond the mind to gain self-knowledge. Beyond the mind. Mind is an instrument for knowing. You cannot skip it and know yourself. You can be known only through the mind. So therefore, eva manasa eva anudrashtavyam, jnatavyam iti. Self-knowledge is a peculiar knowledge in that it is not knowledge of an object. Here, you see how the connection is. So only through the mind should be known, but mind is generally used for knowing the knowledge of an object. But here we are talking about self-knowledge, Atma Jnanam. That is a different type of knowledge. Why it is different type of knowledge? Because self is not an object. It is knowledge of myself, for which the means of knowledge is the last portion of the Veda in the Upanishads, collectively called Vedanta. Vedanam Antaha Vedantaha, the end portion of the Veda. Any statement that reveals the truth of oneself, the nature of oneself, with all fallacies removed is Vedanta, whether it is in Sanskrit, some tribal dialect, or any other language. It is called Vedanta. So any statement in any language, if it removes the ajnanam of oneself and gives the knowledge, then that is Vedanta only. Vedanta Vakya eva. Need not be only in the Veda. It can be in any language and any dialect. If it reveals the nature of myself, then it is Vedanta alone. Although the literal meaning of the word Vedanta is the end of the Veda, the word Veda itself means a body of knowledge. This body of knowledge is available for the humanity. All that one has to do is make use of it. That is why Vedas have to be preserved, have to be handed over to the next generation. It is available only for the humanity. So it's up to the humanity to make it available for the successive generation. Now, revealed knowledge, Apurusheya Pramanam. How has this knowledge come about? This Veda. We can say that it has come about by revelation. Why it has come about we are talking about, because this knowledge is outside of oneself. It's not, the means of knowledge is not with you. It is in the form of words, it's outside. Therefore, how it has come about? It has come about by revelation. It was revealed by Bhagavan to the rishis. But to do so requires a certain understanding of the word revelation. What is revelation to be understood? Anyone can say, I had a revelation yesterday. God always comes in dreams, it seems, and tells certain people all sorts of things. I can also say, I had a dream in which God came, but in my dream, God said, I never come in dreams. The statement that the entire Veda and hence Vedanta is a revealed knowledge is not an immature statement, as we will come to understand. The entire Veda is a body of knowledge that was not authored by any person. It was revealed to the rishis directly. That is why rishis are not the authors of the Veda, they are the seers of the mantra, mantra drashtaraha, and not mantra kartaraha. Karta, kartaro, kartaraha. We know, Urkaranta Shabda. They are not the creators of the mantra, they are the seers of the mantra. Drashta, drashtaro, drashtaraha. Mantra drashtaraha, rishis. That's why they are called seers. Seers are those who see, not doers. They are not doers of mantra, they are seers of mantra. That is what being said here. Therefore, the Vedas are considered to be Apaurusheya, not born of human intellect. They are considered to be a pramana because they reveal something that is not available to us through perception or inference, be it the knowledge of various ends and means in the Karma Kanda or the knowledge of the self in the end portion of the Vedas. So, whether it be the subject matter of Veda Purva or Vedanta, it is not available for other means of knowledge. Therefore, thus, my definition of Vedanta is that it is a means of knowledge, a pramana in the form of words. Shabda pramanam. The sphere of this means of knowledge is you. It talks about you. The subject matter of Vedanta, which is a means of knowledge, is you. So, therefore, Vedanta talks about you. It gives knowledge about you. Does it give a new knowledge about me? It removes the wrong knowledge. It doesn't have to create new knowledge. You is known to you. You is known to you, but what you really are not known to you. Ajnanam is there. Therefore, that ajnana nivrittihi is what the Vedanta does. The removal of ajnanam is what the Vedanta does. That is, for that it's a pramanam. You now have a means of knowledge which you didn't have before. Originally, you had only inference and perception, which you cannot press into service to know yourself. Can you apply inference and perception to know yourself? Because you are not an object. Inference and perception, for their range of operation, is the objects. You are not an object. You are the subject. As a subject, you can know object. As a subject, you cannot know yourself because you are not an object. Therefore, inference and perception cannot be applied. Naturally, then you look for an appropriate means of knowledge and find that there is none available to you other than the one that is outside of you. Therefore, you cannot operate with the means of knowledge that is available to you. Therefore, you have to take the help of the means of knowledge which is available outside of you. Vedanta is available outside of you in the form of words, which comes from the mouth of the Guru and through the parampara. That is the means of knowledge, appropriate means of knowledge. An appropriate means of knowledge must tell you something valid about yourself. In other words, it cannot be fallacious. When something is said about you, it can either be true or untrue, something that is subject to personal validation. The word revelation here is to be understood in terms of an appropriate means of knowledge. That is important because the word revelation is used by many people. Therefore, what revelation is to be understood? Otherwise, they will argue everything is a revelation. No, revelation to be understood as an appropriate means of knowledge. Therefore, the pramanam has to be understood very clearly. Veda as a pramanam. That's why it is called revelation. The first step towards self-knowledge then is accepting Veda as a revealed means of knowledge. That's what the revelation, revealed means of knowledge. How do we know that Vedanta is a means of knowledge? What is a proof? Is there a proof for a means of knowledge? If Vedanta is a means of knowledge for the self, it requires neither inferential nor perceptual proof. All that is required is that it should not contradict what you know inferentially or perceptually. That is the very definition of what pramanam is. So, Vedanta is a means of knowledge for knowing oneself. Therefore, it doesn't require the support of pratyakshadi pramanam. And it should not contradict also with other pramana. If there is a contradiction, then it cannot be a pramana. That's why we say anadhigata abhadita. Abhadita, arthavata jnanajanakam pramanam. How do you prove that Vedanta is a pramanam? Vedanta cannot be disproved as a means of knowledge, and therefore it requires no proof other than self-validation. Since it cannot be disproved, therefore it doesn't require proof also. Let us suppose that a man who was born blind undergoes a new surgical procedure at the age of 35 that will enable him to see. This is a beautiful an explanation. Self-validation. It requires no proof other than self-validation. This is a beautiful example what Swamiji gives. Vedanta cannot be disproved as a means of knowledge, and it requires no proof other than self-validation. For that, he is given an example. The person undergoes surgery. The surgery is considered to be a success. There are no complications, and the doctors are convinced that the man will see. The man had undergone surgery, and now the doctors are convinced that the man would get the vision. After removing the bandages, the doctor says, "Please open your eyes." But keeping his eyes closed tightly, the man says, "Doctor, I will only open my eyes when you prove that I can see." What can the doctor do now? He is being asked to prove that the man's eyes are a means of knowledge, that they are capable of sight. But how can he do that? He only can say, "I think you will be able to see. The surgery went very well, and there is no reason why your eyes should not see." Even if the doctor forces the man's eye open, the only proof that he will be able to see is the sight registered by the eyes themselves. It's a beautiful Drishtanta, an example. For example, therefore, the eyes see. Who will validate? Who can validate? Doctor or this person who underwent surgery? Self-validation. You have to open your eyes to see. Therefore, Vedanta as a means of knowledge, how do you verify that? You use it. You have to validate yourself. And for that validation, you need to have initially Shraddha, faith in the Shastra. That is what Shraddha is about. Vedanta says that you are the solution to your problem and there is no other solution. You have already tried to resolve the problem in a number of different ways. Vedanta doesn't promise anything. It doesn't say you will become the solution. It says you are the solution. To become the solution implies a certain commitment and investment, meaning that you may find it or you may not, since every becoming is fraught with uncertainty. That is talking about samsara. Becoming, so Vedanta says, you don't become the solution, you are the solution. Becoming is impermanent. You are the solution. Therefore, you Satyam, the Satyam. In the Vedic vision of the reality, everything that is known and unknown is Brahma, Brahman. And that Brahman you are, Tat Tvam Asi. So everything is Brahma. Brahman is Ishvara, Bhagavan. And you are that. That is what the Mahavakya is, Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. Gaining this vision, one finds oneself free from all the limitations superimposed upon oneself due to ignorance and error. So the vision of the Vedanta is you are that. So that is the vision of the Vedanta. Therefore, you don't have to become that. You are already that. That is why I said praptasya praptihi. Not gaining something new. It is gaining the gained, achieving the achieved, accomplishing the already accomplished. If that is so, then what is that? It is knowledge. Vedanta is the means of knowledge. That is the knowledge that reveals your reality. That is what the Vedanta is all about. And here, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.